D2s. So I checked up with my office in Chhapra कि भाई आजकल लोग ऑफिस में क्यों नहीं आ रहे हैं. तो कहा साहब मैट्रिक की परीक्षा चल रही है. और बिहार में जब मैट्रिक की परीक्षा चलती है तो सिर्फ विद्यार्थी नहीं, विद्यार्थी की पिताजी, विद्यार्थी का ताऊ, विद्यार्थी का भाई, विद्यार्थी का मास्टर, विद्यार्थी का गांव का मुखिया, विद्यार्थी का पूरा खानदान उसे परीक्षा दिलाने के लिए जाता है. और वो इसलिए जाता है कि उसको पास कराना जरूरी है. इसीलिए वो भिन्न भिन्न प्रकार के जो चित्र आपको बड़े बिल्डिंग पर दिखा, जब लोग बड़े बड़े बांस के करची में पर्ची लगा करके खिड़की के भीतर भेज रहे थे, दैट इज बेसिकली विद द आइडिया कि भाई इसे पास कराना है. परसों मेरे यहां पटना में एक व्यक्ति आया एंड पिछली सरकार ने कोशिश किया, 2 संस्थाएं बनाई, नेशनल स्किल डेवलपमेंट एजेंसी, नेशनल स्किल डेवलपमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन, और हुआ कि भाई पूरे देश में इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज करना है स्किल में. इस बीच में प्रधानमंत्री ने एक बहुत बड़ा निर्णय लिया एंड दैट डिसीजन वाज टू माइग्रेट ऑल द ITIs इन दिस कंट्री अंडर द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कंट्रोल फ्रॉम द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ लेबर टू द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्किल डेवलपमेंट. आई हैव गॉट अबाउट 13,000 ITIs. But the problem is there, out of these 13,000 ITIs, there are ITIs, 90% of these ITIs are fitter, turner and electrician, hard skills में. और उसमें से लगभग 2,000 ITIs ऐसे हैं जो दुनिया के किसी भी स्किल सेंटर को कंपेयर कर सकता है. But rest 11,000 is something which possibly we will not actually be very delighted to see. Now, there is, I went to a place in Australia and there was an institute called Kangan. Now they spent about $100 million there and they have constructed. So when you walk into that institute, from A to Z of automobile is there. But I can tell you in India also there are at least more than a dozen centers which are of an equivalent category. But we don't recognize them, we do not create them, we do not benchmark them. So the ITIs are there. And then in the non-formal sector, we have the VTPs and the National Skill Development Corporation. But I have a certain complaint, not exactly a complaint. I would like to inform the industry. And since the country moves in a big way on a networking of CII, FICCI, ASSOCHAM, and the government hears them out. Government, जब भी कोई सरकार में अगर इंडस्ट्री बॉडी से बात करना होता है तो स्टेट इंडस्ट्री ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, सेंट्रल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जितने आपके, उनसे हम बातचीत करते हैं. मोस्ट ऑफ यू वुड बी एसोसिएटेड, द होटल एसोसिएशन ऑफ इंडिया, सो फोर्थ एंड सो ऑन. एंड द नेशनल स्किल डेवलपमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन वाज क्रिएटेड विद एन ऑब्जेक्टिव, क्योंकि इंडस्ट्री ने कहा कि हमें BA MA नहीं चाहिए, हमें चाहिए वैसे लोग जो इतने छोटे से काम के लिए इतना प्रशिक्षण हो और इसको हम लोग अपने रोजगार के लिए ले रहे हैं. वी वॉन्ट एग्जैक्टली दिस, अंग्रेजी जाने, टाइपिंग जाने, थोड़ा वेल ग्रूम्ड हो और ये 6 चीजें अपने काम के बारे में जाने. हम उसको 10,000 से 30,000 की नौकरी में रख लेंगे. हमें बहुत ज्यादा पढ़ा लिखा आदमी नहीं चाहिए, हमें BA MA नहीं चाहिए, हमें ये चाहिए. एंड द इंडस्ट्री बॉडी डिसाइडेड थ्रू NSDC टू क्रिएट द सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल्स. And there are now 36 sector skill councils. So the idea today is that there is a demand in the industry. For a demand in the industry, you have to train people. So that means you have to mobilize the right set of people. So you mobilize the people. There is a process by which you train, because there is something called the qualification pack. Under a qualification pack, you train them. Then there is an independent body called for the assessment. And once you do the assessment, then you give the certification. And that product is good for the market. Now this is what was planned. मुझे पता नहीं है कि कितने लोगों को पता होगा कि नहीं, ये सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल की जो कल्पना भारत में की गई, और ये सरकार नहीं चलाती है, ये सभी सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल इंडस्ट्री हेड चलाते हैं. और फिर जैसे हॉस्पिटैलिटी सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल है, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर अवेयर दैट देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड द हॉस्पिटैलिटी सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल? प्लीज रेज योर हैंड. So this country can never move. Only 6 people who are the topmost industries in this country. But tell me, who heads the hospitality sector skill council and who are the important members in there? Can anyone tell me? यही प्रभु जी, यही देश का कष्ट है. इंडस्ट्री बॉडी ने ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस क्रिएट किए इस देश में कि हमें अपने लायक लेने वाले लोगों की संस्था बनाए जिसमें सरकार का कोई नहीं हो. हम लोगों ने हर सेक्टर काउंसिल को 5-5 करोड़ रुपया दिया और कहा कि आप तय कीजिए, और हम भारत सरकार से ऐसे बॉडीज में सर्टिफाई होने वाले लोगों को सरकारी मान्यता देंगे, और अगले 3 साल में ऐसे बॉडीज से सर्टिफाई होने वाले लोगों को सरकारी नौकरी के लिए भी देंगे. But this is the biggest organization in the country. And we are not, and that has been in existence, and it's a successful body. The work which are doing in the Sector Skill Council of Hospitality, they are doing an outstanding job, and I'll read it out how they have gone about it. But I'm afraid, and the person who heads it is Mr. Vicky Oberoi. Like the Health Sector Skill Council is headed by Dr. Trehan. Maybe you say A is not correct, B is correct. When you look at beauty and wellness, it is being headed by Vandana Luthra. They may have a bit, but they have come out from the system and said, we will train it. Lemon Tree, Mr. Kiswani, he is a part of that council. अब अगर हमारे देश में जिस व्यवस्था को हमने कायम किया, क्योंकि आज आप भी निर्भर हैं कि भाई सरकार ही सर्टिफिकेट दे तो ऐसे लोगों को हम एम्प्लॉय करें, मुझे लगता है कि ये सबसे बड़ी चुनौती है। और अब आपको आने वाले दिनों में, अगर अभी तक किसी ने आपके सामने नहीं रखा है, मैं जानता हूं कि होटल इंडस्ट्री में रोज प्रकार के विभिन्न प्रकार के कस्टमर्स आते हैं, बहुत चैलेंजेस है, सरकार में आपका हमेशा रहता है कि भाई ईज ऑफ बिजनेस नहीं है, और बहुत सारे एक होटल के लाइसेंस लेने के लिए 150 स्थानों पर आपको जाना पड़ता है, जमीन से लेकर के और अपने बार के लाइसेंस से लेकर के, और जो लेबर यूनियंस हैं उससे लेकर के 1000 तरह के, मैं समझ सकता हूं कष्ट है। लेकिन अगर इस पूरे प्रोसेस को करने के लिए 4 चीजें आपके जिंदगी में और आपके आने वाली पीढ़ियों के लिए, जो ये काम 69 वर्ष में होना चाहिए था, जिसे किसी ने नहीं किया, और देश के प्रधानमंत्री, ये 4-5 शब्द आपके सामने आते रहेंगे। और इसको आप, तो एक तरफ स्कूल एजुकेशन की बात कही गई, और स्कूल एजुकेशन में दिस between school education that I'll handle if you want me to handle separately, and between skilling. So there is something called the National Skills Qualification Framework. अब ये क्या चीज है, ये क्या चिड़िया है, कहां से आई है? National Skills Qualification Framework is a combination of 2 modules which were there. One was under the Ministry of HRD, National Skills Vocational Educational Qualification Framework, and the other side was under the Ministry of Labor, National स्किल्स क्वालिफिकेशन फ्रेमवर्क। दोनों को मर्ज करके एक नेशनल स्किल्स क्वालिफिकेशन फ्रेमवर्क बनाया गया है, जिसके तहत सरकार ने मान्यता दी है कि इसके तहत कोई भी व्यक्ति अगर प्रशिक्षित हो तो उद्योग से लेकर सरकार को इसको स्वीकार करना होगा। नाउ NSQF इज बिटवीन लेवल 1 and 10. Everything, even the editor of a magazine or the head of a channel of a group CEO is between NSQF from 1 to 10. एक आदमी जो, the cameraman who has put his projection on me, the man who has fixed this microphone, the man who has fixed this screen, the man who is standing there to give you a glass of water, everything is now been put under NSQF 1 to 10. तो जो बिल्कुल मजदूर किस्म का आदमी होगा वो 1 से 3 तक आएगा, जो सुपरवाइजरी होगा वो 3 से 5 तक जाएगा, जो मैनेजरियल होगा 5 से 7 तक जाएगा, जो जनरल मैनेजर होटल का होगा वो 8 तक जाएगा, और जो उस कंपनी का CEO होगा वो 9 और 10 तक जाएगा, जो बैंक का CEO होगा वो 10 तक जाएगा, 9 तक जाएगा, तो देश का जो सबसे बड़ा एग्जीक्यूटिव होगा वो 8-9 तक जाएगा। The whole thing has been under the skills qualification framework, we have framed it. Now what's the और इस देश में every job, some are still left to be mapped, every job has been mapped now. And there are about 7,000 job roles which has been identified in this country. But each job is not good enough to be a employable job. So you create a qualification pack. And a qualification pack is the outcome based, जिसको industry body accept करती है कि ये qualification होगा। तो सामान्य रूप से अगर मैं explain करूं आप लोगों को कि एक pilot, I am a pilot too. I fly big planes. I do not know if anyone has flown with me. If I have been a captain on an airline, has anyone flown with me? Only 1, 2, 3. Oh, Prabhuji is there. He has also flown with me. So I have flown planes and I fly planes properly, so it's okay. But what's a qualification pack for a captain? A captain of an A320, suppose if I am the captain for an A320, which I fly, he has to have 4 basics. He has to be a commercial pilot license, which is a qualification very separate. Then he has to have clear a paper of navigation. Then he has to clear a paper of meteorology. And then he has to clear a paper and practice for air communication. If he qualifies in all 4, then he is fit to become a captain. But independently, if you know CPL, you can become an instructor in a flying club. If you know independently a subject of meteorology, you can become a meteorologist. And if you know the communication skills, then you can become between meteorology and air traffic controller, combination of two, you can become an air traffic controller. So this is how you define a qualification pack. हम सब बड़े-बड़े इंडस्ट्री में, होटलों में, जहां निर्माण का काम कर रहे हैं, we see welders. पर हम सब समझते हैं वेल्डर एक ही प्रकार का है. But if I have to explain you a welder, what is the difference between a welder of a, तो एक वेल्डर जो असेंबली के कार लाइन पर काम करता हो, जहां मारुति उद्योग और टाटा और सुजुकी के जो असेंबली लाइन है, so there is a welder whose job is to give 6 stitches on the assembly line in 2 minutes. And he is specialized. His torch is different, his working conditions are different, his mind frame is different, because अगर वो 2 मिनट में उसने 6 जगह स्टिच नहीं लगाए तो पूरा असेंबली लाइन रुक जाएगा. So he is so professionally skilled, so he knows that. But he is also a welder. There is another welder who goes to a gas pipeline. Now we are talking of Hazira, Bijapur gas pipeline, thousands of kilometers. Now his welding machine is different, his welding torch is different, his safety conditions are different, his safety training is different, and his work environment is different. He is also a welder of pipelines, gas pipelines. There is a third category of a welder, which is in the oil rigs. So he has to be a scuba diver. उसको समुद्र के भीतर गोताखोरी करना है, वहां जाकर के उसको वेल्डिंग करना है. He has to have a torch which can weld inside the sea. And his salary is 5 times more than the first category of welder, which you find in a small steel shop. But for all of us, it is a welder. But this is how we define, and that is how we have to also define in the industry also. और इन सब काम करने के लिए first time भारत के इतिहास में, because we have started moving, we are engaging with the states. The Prime Minister is heading, and on 15th of July, the World Skills Day, first time, if I am correct, देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने अभी तक जितने मिशंस हैं, that has been headed by the concerned ministries or someone important. But this is the first time in independent India that the Prime Minister is heading a skill mission, and he is chairing the mission with the states. अब ये है कि इतना, it's a Prime Minister's, and nothing will actually succeed unless until skills doesn't happen. Make in India, digital India, when you need people to put optical fiber network across the country, when you need to repair phones, when you need to put digital technology across, everything, every sector will only happen. चीन तो हमसे बहुत आगे निकल गया, ऐसा माना जाता है, सच्चाई भी है. एंड दुनिया में मैं अभी I was in Tanzania. I had gone to extend an invite on behalf of the Prime Minister to the Tanzanian President. And then I went to some of the forest. There I saw कि Masai Mara tribe, which most of you must have seen or heard about. So I went to one of these tribal hamlets. और मैंने देखा कि ये जो चप्पल पहन रहे हैं, ये चप्पल टायर के कटे हुए हैं, और उनके पूरे सारे के सारे लोग टायर जो होता है उसको काट करके चप्पल बनाते हैं, उसके ऊपर लेस है. But I looked at 1 feet, 2nd feet, 3rd feet, 4 feet. I found a sense of uniformity in the construction of that slippers. Then I came back and I said कि ये जरूर, because the uniformity of that slippers is such that ये जरूर China ने बनाया है. So Chinese don't wear those slippers. They came all the way and they found that 500,000 or maybe whatever may be the numbers, Maasais wear this kind of slippers. So they went back, manufactured those kind of slippers which Maasai tribe wear and sold it to them. आप competitiveness की बात करते हैं, वहां उन लोगों ने कहा, हमारे बजाज ऑटो हैं साहब, बजाज साहब हमारे दोस्त हैं, हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्लब के मेंबर हैं, एमपी रहे हैं, टीवीएस सुजुकी है, तो वहां पूरे टांजानिया में छोटे छोटे ये ऑटो लगे हुए हैं. फिर मैंने देखा कि एक और कैटेगरी का एक ऑटो वहां खड़ा है. तो आई जस्ट वॉज इंक्वायरिंग फ्रॉम सम पीपल, तो कहा साहब ये चीन से बन के आया है. चाइना डजंट यूज ऑटोज अक्रॉस, दैट इज व्हाट आई हैव बीन टोल्ड चाइना. बट दे केम टू नो कि इंडिया इज प्रोवाइडिंग टीवीएस सुजुकी एंड बजाज, सो दे मैन्युफैक्चर्ड, क्रिएटेड अ सिमिलर थिंग and they are putting it right in front of our product. Where are we what are we doing? इसी प्रकार से वहां कहा कि साहब, I do not know whether anyone will associate, टाटा मोटर्स, कहा कि साहब अशोक लीलैंड टाटा मोटर्स यहां बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं. बट चाइनीज ट्रक्स, अगर उनके स्पेयर का कंसाइनमेंट हम आज ऑर्डर करें तो 4 से 6 दिन में हमारे पास आ जाता है. लेकिन टाटा ट्रक्स और लीलैंड, अशोक लीलैंड का अगर हम स्पेयर्स का रिप्लेनिशमेंट ऑर्डर करें तो 3 महीने लगते हैं। आपका सामान हम क्यों खरीदेंगे? Now, if our industry body is become so insensitive, forget about the government as a point. But even the industry body and a small man, because most of them, there are 55,000 Indians there, and most of them are Gujaratis. They say so. We feel very upset about it कि भाई ऐसा है। तो मैं ये जो विषय कर रहा था कि चीन तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में हमसे आगे जा चुका है, लेकिन हमारे पास जो सबसे बड़ी ताकत है इस देश में, जो शायद जिसको हम लोग जिसका अनुमान नहीं लगा पा रहे हैं, एक तो हमारी विविधता जो है और दूसरा अंग्रेजी। एंड इफ चाइना हैज बिकम द इंडस्ट्रियल कैपिटल ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, इंडिया कैन बिकम द ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज स्किल कैपिटल ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। नो वन कैन स्टॉप इट। यही हमारी एक ताकत है जिसको पकड़ना है, और इसमें लाखों करोड़ रुपया जाए तो देना है, क्योंकि दुनिया में हमें, मैं सुषमा जी से बात कर रहा था, आई एम ट्राइंग टू, मेरा विभाग बिल्कुल ही ऐसे वैसे सबको मैं, एंड समवन हु backs me up and says कि करते रहो, जो जैसे करते रहो, is the prime minister. He says, and he would tell people कि भाई ये दिन भर भागते रहता, और mindset is not changing. I talked to Sushma ji and she said कि भाई हमारे यहाँ भी ट्रेनिंग का पैसा, मेरे यहाँ भारत सरकार में 24 मंत्रालय स्किल डेवलपमेंट का काम करे। कुछ लोग का काम तो बहुत बड़ा है, वो करना चाहिए, बट कुछ लोगों की जरूरत नहीं है। So finally it has been decided that all this has to be dovetailed into it. उन्होंने कहा कि साहब we have created a house help हॉस्पिटैलिटी सेक्टर। सऊदी अरेबिया में अभी उन्होंने, सुषमा जी ने बताया कि लगभग संख्या मुझे याद 400 या 500 लोग ऐसे हैं जो भारत से गए हैं और उनको ट्रेंड हेल्प के रूप में यहां से ले जाया गया है, कोई ड्राइवर के रूप में, कोई इसके रूप में, कोई इसके रूप में। वहां जाके कोई गलती हो गई और सबको फांसी की सजा है। नाउ वी कैन नॉट इवन सेंड ट्रेन्ड मैन पावर, एंड देयर आर पीपल हु आर दिस सम काइंड ऑफ not travel agents, but those people who do this brokerage, लोगों को उठाते हैं, वहां कर देते हैं, वहां जाके ना उसको माइक्रोवेव चलाना आता है, ना एक छोटे से टेलीफोन कॉल को रिसीव करने आता है, ना डस्टिंग करने का काम आता है, ना वाइपिंग करना, शीशा साफ करने का काम आता है, ना टॉयलेट को क्लीन कर देने का काम आता है। एंड दे आर फाइनली पुट बिहाइंड बार्स, दे आर एक्सटॉर्टेड। एंड शी सेज पॉसिबली 600 or 6,000, आई डोंट रिमेंबर। बट इस तरह से देयर इज अ टोटल डिस्कॉर्ड। आई कम फ्रॉम अ स्टेट ऑफ झारखंड एंड बिहार, द erstwhile झारखंड। पिछले झारखंड में टाटा मोबाइल्स के ट्रक मैन्युफैक्चर होते हैं, और पिछले 21 वर्षों में झारखंड में एक भी हेवी व्हीकल ड्राइवर का लाइसेंस इश्यू नहीं हुआ है। बिहार में पिछले 21 सालों में एक भी हेवी व्हीकल ड्राइवर का लाइसेंस नहीं इश्यू हुआ है, क्योंकि वहां ट्रेनिंग का सिस्टम ही नहीं है। Now, can you imagine a state with a population of 11 crores and another state with a population of 4 crores, almost 1/8 of India does not have a training school? I received a letter from the embassy in, I do not know, everyone must have, Lima, Peru. 15,000 किलोमीटर हमारे यहाँ से दूर है। वहाँ के एम्बेसी ने हमारे पास एक पत्र लिखा कि साहब ये बताइए कि हम आपके यहाँ पिछले 2 सालों से हर 6 महीने 4 महीने पर I'm giving visas to Peruvian nationals, and there are only 38 Indians staying in Peru, 38 or 40. We are giving visa to Peruvian nationals to come down to India and to operate long haul drill operators, to caterpillars, to compactors, to backhoe operators. साहब, जो मशीनें भारत में हजारों की संख्या में हैं और करोड़ों की संख्या में ऐसे नौजवान यहां बैठे हुए हैं, लेकिन आज तक ये भी नहीं पता है कि इनका लाइसेंस कैसे होता है। और आप किसी भी कैटरपिलर और बैकहो ऑपरेटर को, तो भारत में अभी तक प्रोविजन नहीं है। नितिन गडकरी जी लगे हैं कि आखिर इनका लाइसेंस किया जाए, वो हैवी व्हीकल ट्रक लाइसेंस के आधार पर वो चला रहे हैं, उनके लिए लाइसेंसिंग। और वहां से लोग आकर के हिंदुस्तान जिंक में, राजस्थान में काम करते हैं। इज इट नॉट अ मैटर ऑफ कंसर्न फॉर अस? आप सब क्रूज लाइनर्स पे जाते हैं, हमने नितिन जी को कहा, नितिन जी लगे हैं साहब, दुनिया भर में मेडिटेरेनियन, यहां वहां, यू सी द फिलिपिनोज, यू सी द श्रीलंकन्स, यू सी, क्या है, दे आर जस्ट अंग्रेजी, ग्रूमिंग एंड सम बेसिक ट्रेड, एंड दे आर एम्प्लॉयबल। I can tell you, and these are the things which you have to, I will come to, I don't want to take my, I think I have crossed, there are hundreds of things I can keep telling you, ki bhai, we have to get going. I will tell you one more example. How English is so important, and how English can make all of a difference. While I was flying as a captain with Indigo Airlines, my state has a population and there are young girls, smart girls. But अगर 100 लड़कियां उस एयर होस्टेस के रूप में काम कर रही हैं, 98 would be from Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, or the northern states. Well, aren't there girls in Odisha who are good enough to fly in aviation? Aren't there girls in West Bengal, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh? Lekin 99% get because they are not groomed. They cannot stand up. They may be brilliant, they may be intelligent, but they can't get up and speak smartly. Few words of English and we don't get girls there. And there are hundreds of vacancies every day coming on the blog of Indigo, or for that matter, Air India and things like that. So there is something which is a mismatch which we need to address. I'm just trying to flag this issue, or isko kaise. Jaise, for example, I was going through, I will not go into the statistics of tourism. But I can just tell you, for example, when I was talking about housekeeping, the qualification, कभी आप वक्त मिले तो नेशनल स्किल डेवलपमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन के साइट पर चले जाइएगा, वहाँ से फिर हॉस्पिटैलिटी सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल पर चले जाइएगा, और क्योंकि आप सब उस लेवल के लोग हैं और क्योंकि आप सबको जानकारी हो, मैंने कल रात को बैठ के देखा, फूड प्रोडक्शन इन किचन इज वन ऑफ द एग्जाम्पल, फूड एंड बेवरेजेस सर्विसेज इज वन, इस प्रकार से हाउसकीपिंग इज वन. सो आई वाज जस्ट गोइंग थ्रू what are the levels. Maybe आप सब में से भी शायद सबको पता हो या ना भी हो. The executive housekeeper is on NSQF level 8. Housekeeping manager is 7. Housekeeping supervisor is 6. Housekeeping executive, laundry manager is 5. And housekeeper is 3. So this is under the NSQF level. If you look at food and beverages, the front office, the food and beverages manager in a hotel would be on a category 8, very close to the general manager level. The banquet manager would be 7, the outlet manager would be, the captain would be 6. And the banquet manager is 4, and F&B steward is 5, and bartender is 3. Now all these things makes you think that, is it not the right time that we start? I'll tell you a few more examples before I conclude. As I said, I was in Tanzania. When I got down, everything was arranged. So there was a Toyota Land Rover or something like that. The driver was there. So driver was an escort for us for next 4 days. So I started talking to him. How much do you? He said, I get $500. But मैं पिछले 30 साल में जंगलों के बारे में और जानवरों के बारे में और पौधों के बारे में इतना नहीं जाना जितना उस व्यक्ति के साथ चार दिन के यात्रा में डाला. वो खुद ही बताता, बोलता रहता था. आप किसी चिड़िया का नाम पूछ दो, चिड़िया का बायोलॉजिकल नाम पूछ दो, किसी कैक्टस को देख लो, किसी पौधे को देख लो, किसी लेपर्ड के कलर को देख लो, आप उससे, आप आज तक मुझे गजल और इम्पाला में फर्क नहीं पता था. और इम्पालास के हर्ड में मेल कौन है, और एक मेल होगा और 400 फीमेल होंगी उसके साथ. I never knew, and the way he explained it to us. So in 4 days, so he gets $500, approximately 30,000 rupees. वो गाड़ी चलाता था, होटल में चेक इन कराता था, हमारा मेडिकल अगर कोई रिक्वायरमेंट है वो देखता था. He used to take care of us for 4 days. He was with us without an intervention. He was so firm that you cannot get down in the park. The place where you could get down, the rules he used to say, we were amazed. And he used to speak perfect English. तो उसने 3 साल का टूरिज्म का कोर्स किया. 3 साल में 1.5 साल उसने उसके कोर्स में फॉरेस्ट में घूमना पड़ा उसे अपने इंस्ट्रक्टर के साथ. एक चिड़िया, एक उसका हैबिटेट, उसका मेटिंग सीजन, उसका माइग्रेशन, उसके बच्चों के बारे में वो कैसे देखभाल करते हैं. Does anyone know that the giraffe, how does it give birth to a baby? It stands. It gives birth to a baby while it is standing, and the baby falls from 8 feet. And the moment it falls from 8 feet, it becomes alive. मैंने कहा यार कमाल की बातें बता रहे हो. अब ये हम लोग वर्ल्ड ज्योग्राफिक में देखेंगे और बच्चों को कहेंगे पढ़ो, बट उसने मुझे बताया, मैंने जिराफ को, जो जिराफ हमसे 20 फीट ऊपर खड़ा था, ऐसे करके देख रहा था. द मेल जिराफ एंड अ फीमेल जिराफ, आई वुड नॉट बी एबल टू डिस्टिंग्विश. Between a leopard and a tendua and a cheetah, he would distinguish. Now I can do it. So Even when you are training people for the hospitality, which you require in large numbers, your room attendants, the person who takes care, small activity, but this cannot come in a classroom education. This has to come through skills. This cannot come in a classroom education or possibility of, I do not know how many of you have been to the Keys West. America? 6 of us. साहब 1000 किलोमीटर islands हैं. When you go down to Mexico से थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे ऊपर हजारों किलोमीटर तो islands हैं अमेरिका में. One island after the island, one, and every island has been connected like it's one of the most exotic island places which I've seen. We have Andaman and Nicobar Islands. There are restrictions there, 1,000 kilometers away. But 1,000 kilometers away from the mainland is 1,000 kilometers of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And Akela Andaman and Nicobar Islands can take care of the entire economy of the country. The amount of potential. There could be many more places. I was in Seychelles. I do not know. Seychelles में सोचता था साहब कि बहुत बड़ा कमाल का डेस्टिनेशन होगा, जाएंगे. ये ज़रूर है. जब सेशल्स में उतरा तो उसके हवाई अड्डे पर मैंने देखा कि साहब एक तो यहाँ पर एक तो ड्रीमलाइनर उतरा हुआ है, एक तो यहाँ 380 उतरा हुआ है, फिर मैंने देखा कि भाई एक 777 भी है, A320s भी लगे हुए हैं. सो इट्स एन आर्टिफिशियली रिक्लेम्ड लैंड इन सेशल्स, रिक्लेम्ड लैंड इन सेशल्स, और वहाँ पर इन लोगों ने बना रखा है. एंड कैन एनीवन टेल मी द पॉपुलेशन ऑफ सेशल्स? गेस? Less than 1 million. Anyone? 80,000 लोग हैं साहब. और 80,000 के बारे में वहां राष्ट्रपति भी है, प्रधानमंत्री भी है, सब कुछ है और देश चल रहा है, और जितना आबादी नहीं उससे चौगुना लोग वहां टूरिज्म में आते हैं. I can keep talking about it, where we stand and what we need to do. Thanks that Lisa is a brand ambassador and the Prime Minister is going across. लोग जो भी कहे, जो रात भर चलता है, दिन भर जाता है, एक बार नाम भी हम भूल जाते हैं. उज्बेकिस्तान, कजाकिस्तान, रशिया, तुर्कमेनिस्तान, किर्गिस्तान, ताजिकिस्तान, मैं एक छोड़ करके कहीं नहीं गया हूं. देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने 55-50 के आसपास देशों का रौंद करके पूरी दुनिया में हमारी पहचान बनी है. एंड दैट इज also a part of tourism, to promote tourism. But are we gearing up for that? Are we gearing up for that? So let's put a stop to where we are. I'm not talking about the GDP, how much is the industry, how much is the manufacturing, but let's put a stop and start working on creation of a better manpower and human resources. Hospitality is one of them, which has a great potential. ये दूसरी बात है कि साहब सिंगापुर का पॉपुलेशन 7 मिलियन या 6 मिलियन है, और वहाँ हम लोगों ने, सिंगापुर इज अ हब ऑफ 50 मिलियन पीपल, दुबई 30 मिलियन पीपल, भारत 1260 मिलियन पीपल. हम लोगों ने 69 वर्षों में एक भारत में हब नहीं बना सके पूरी दुनिया में. साहब पूरा आपको अफ्रीका में कहीं जाना हो तो यू ऑल हैव टू गो टू इथियोपिया एंड दे हैव क्रिएटेड अ हब. इवन श्रीलंका इज हेडिंग टू बिकम अ हब. वी हैव वेस्टेड सो मच ऑफ टाइम इन दिस कंट्री. Thanks, there's someone who is thinking about it, there's someone who has started talking about it, there's someone who is trying to move ahead in that. And I can assure you, India is going to be different now. Whatever my friends in media may write, whatever, and the states have also to come up. The states have to, because nothing can happen unless the states come on board. Because अगर एक लंबी लकीर खींच दे भारत में, तो आप देखेंगे कि लंबी के बाएं तरफ की जितने राज्य हैं, चाहे गुजरात, महाराष्ट्र, कर्नाटक, आंध्र प्रदेश, वो प्रगतिशील है, लेकिन वहाँ कोई कोयला खदान नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. और दाहिने तरफ देखेंगे बिहार, उत्तर प्रदेश और ओडिशा और वेस्ट बंगाल गरीब है, जहाँ मैन पावर ह्यूज है. Someone has to do this mega planning. Someone has to start planning. This country has to move. And we are all a part of, we are proud of our nation, we are proud of our country, we are proud of the people. But there's something missing, and this cannot happen alone by the government. This has to be done along with the Federation of Hotel Association and Restaurant Owners of this country. By partnership of all of you, we have to come together and do many things. I'm sorry I've taken excess time, because this possibly would be, you are the doyens of the industry, you are the think tanks, you are the people who would matter in opinion making. I could have gone into more nitty-gritty of things, but I think I already have a slip. I can't take much more. And, but I'm sure it's not going to be the end here. Dilip and the entire association people, thank you for allowing me to be here. I have had an opportunity to be And small decisions, Prabhuji, small decisions which people will forget today. None of them remember what happens. The roads which came into existence in 2001 when Mr. Vajpayee decided to have the golden quadrilaterals in the north-south corridor gave a paradigm shift how roads are made. You must have forgotten, but we showed how roads are made. When my government, I can take the credit, when we decided to privatize the Airport Authority of India and said that, please, for God's sake, remember it. And if you don't remember it, it's not fair. The 4 airports which you saw in this country, Delhi and Mumbai, and Hyderabad and Shamshabad, and Devanali in Bangalore, the architect and the creation of those airports was not by the UPA government. We privatized, we changed the Airport Authority Act, and we saw that they are privatized. And what you see is a creation of the NDA government then. The 36 non-metro airports, Raipur, ye wo tarte hain, Dehradun, it has not been done by the UPA government. It was started by us, but we could not last and we were left. There are many things which has to be done yet. And I'm sure the Prime Minister has taken up many issues which possibly may sound very trivial to you now, but these are going to change the landscape of India. And we are all committed. The ministers are committed. The ministers are without red lights today. Some of them may have, but majority have decided to give away. We are all a part of you, as a part of your team, and we are trying to take the industry forward. We are trying to do whatever best possible. There could be mistakes here and there. But we have come with a right vision. We are a commitment. We have a Prime Minister who works for 16 hours. We try to cope up with him. We can't. Actually, we can't. But there are things which is happening which possibly the industry at times is quite... but I can tell you, things are changing. It takes a while when the whole system has to be overhauled. The new machine has to be put, the new oil machine has to be greased. But I'm sure the industry, as you are, will come forward, work with the skill initiatives that would add up to the productivity of the nation and yours as well. Thank you very much for giving me this time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Rudy. I request you to please remain on stage one moment, and I request Mr. Sudesh Podar, President, HRAEI, to please present Mr. Rudy with a memento, thanking him on our behalf for his time and insights this morning. That was a very passionate and eye-opening conversation on skills development. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Podar, and I especially appreciate Mr. Rudy talking about the quality of skills development and the role of private entities in the same. Time now for a very intimate conversation, Dil Se. I have the privilege of welcoming today 2 of the most influential and powerful personalities in their trades. This is a talk show between veteran journalist Mr. Prabhu Chawla, who will speak with the Managing Director and the CEO of Taj Group of Hotels, Mr. Rakesh Sarna. I'd like to welcome Mr. Chawla and Mr. Sarna on stage to take central court as we sit back and enjoy a very wonderful, intimate conversation for the next 20 minutes. I request the dignitaries and the press to please take the conversation away from the stage so we can continue with this morning's program. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now to introduce the talk show host and the guest. Mr. Rakesh Sarna has over 3 decades of experience across various leadership roles with Hyatt Hotels Corporation. He was the Group President, Americas, with a portfolio of 146 full-service hotels, 233 select service hotels, and 15 vacation ownership facilities with around 40,000 employees. In this role, Mr. Sarna was responsible for the development and management of all owned, managed, and franchised hotels across all Hyatt brands. Mr. Prabhu Chawla is the editorial director of the New Indian Express, a Chennai-based newspaper. Prior to his assignment with the New Indian Express, he was the editor of language publications with India Today. Mr. Chawla has the unique distinction of being the only journalist in India whose story has led to the fall of government in New Delhi. While at India Today, he hosted a popular talk show, Seedhi Baat, on Aaj Tak, where he has interviewed prominent personalities. Mr. Chawla, over to you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Chawla and Mr. Sarna.
May I request all of you to take seats, please. Good morning, everybody. We are late, of course, and you will not have the fun of having discussion which all of you are expecting. Because when I saw the program, I thought you have given politicians very little time. 15 minutes to a minister who is very bright, who knows this subject very well. You give him 15 minutes, I think you are very unfair to him. He spent, of course, 1 hour, and he gave a lot of things which he wanted to say about it. Well, that's a different issue now. Mr. Sarna has to go back, and I have to also catch a flight, and we will be little short of time. And my objective is only to do what I normally do, hard talk. But the topic is heart talk. So I will do the hard talk, and Mr. Sarna is going to reply from the heart. I wish he will reply from the heart and not from the mind, because his mind is very sharp. But his heart is soft. I think he is a human being after all. And I think I expect all the people are expecting from him to talk from the heart and not from the mind. Because when it comes to mind, I will not be able to compete with him. He is running such a big empire of Taj Hotels. And he has come from Hyatt, which is a bigger chain, in fact. So obviously he has got a monumental mind which is bigger than the Himalayas. And I'm a tiny journalist who cannot be indulging in mind exercise with him. I don't know anything about him. I don't expect, I know only his name. I don't know much more than that. So that could be advantage, that could be disadvantage. किसी के बारे में ज़्यादा जानना खतरनाक होता है, किसी के बारे में कुछ ना जानना खतरनाक नहीं होता है, परंतु मेरे लिए खतरनाक है. तो मेरी जो information lack, what I lack, I will try to compensate it with something else, which you will see a little later. But I have got only 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, Mr. Sarna, as all of you know, has come to handle Taj group of hotels. I'm really proud of Taj brand as a whole, because I started living, first time I spent a night in a 5-star hotel was in Taj, only in Taj, Bombay. And I've been staying in various hotels for the last 35 years as a journalist. I spent about 1,500 nights in a hotel, out of which about 420 and 230 I have spent in Taj hotels. Unfortunately, I have not spent many nights in Taj Hotel for the past 2 years for reasons which I'll discuss during the question hour. Only thing which I want to start, if you don't mind, I have to start with because we don't have enough time. There is a tendency in India, don't mind, I am not putting anything on that. There is a tendency in India that for any domestic disease, you need a foreign medicine. बीमारी हिंदुस्तानी है, उसके लिए फॉरेन की दवाई आएगी. So if the company is going down, you must import a person from abroad. Do you agree that you have been imported from abroad by Taj Hotel? Though you are an Indian, we are proud of you. India needs foreign managers, or you, what I call in my own language, that what they call FTMs, foreign trained managers. They think they are ATMs in India. Are you going to be the ATM for Taj Hotels or not? I want to leave it there.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? So the good news is that I don't know what he said. I can't hear him with this sound system. I think what he said is, were you imported or not? So last time I checked, I'm not a commodity, so I wasn't imported. I think there is a certain truth that we Indians do tend to believe that things foreign are better. We have become prisoners of that emotion, and it's time to break away and look back at what we have, where we came from, and our heritage and our legacy, and try to build on that. It is very tempting to imitate the Western world, and we must resist that temptation, but not forego the technology or the other aspects that we can learn from them. But if you take the humanity of India, you take the deep culture and heritage of India, and you marry that with technology of the West, we will prevail. This is not me speaking. This is what Swami Vivekananda said to Jamshedji Tata hundreds of years ago. But we didn't listen because we're too busy buying jeans and iPhones and trying to imitate the West. India has tremendous potential. India has tremendous talent and tremendous knowledge. So does the rest of the world. But we can stand on our own 2 feet. And no, I was not imported and I'm not ATM. My ATM value is a little bit higher than what he thinks.
I know that you may not be holding IIT graduates or IEMs from India, but you are one of the most well-known hotelier in the world. And you handle such a big chain like Hyatt. But the question is, you are doing a good job. And you have come here, where I said you are FTM, foreign trained manager, who become an ATM. They expect to become ATM here. And Taj Group is really in a bad shape at the moment in terms of public perception. I don't know. Your bottom lines are going down. Your top lines, of course, are not that bad. But when the bottom line of a hotel, Taj, I am proud of Taj in the sense because Taj Mahal Hotel is wonder of the world, has not lost its charm. But for a CEO of a group like Taj, because Taj Hotel seems to be in a public perception, losing its charm, doesn't it worry you at all?
You know, perception is a very powerful word. And it is true that there are certain perceptions. But you need to separate those perceptions from reality and not only speak to perceptions of a few individuals. There's many opinions. In our country, you speak to 10 people, you get at least 14 opinions. Taj is going through a stage which every business and community goes through. There's volatility and there is uncertainty that happens through the course of the life of everybody. Taj is here to stay. Taj will do very well. And it's not going to do very well because a foreign trained manager with an ATM machine came here. It's going to do very well because of what Taj is. It's going to do very well because we are living in the shadows of greatness of Jamshedji. We're living in the shadows of 26,000 people that work very hard. We have the right to say we are the custodians of Indian hospitality. We were great, we are great, and we will be great. Perceptions come and go. And we will not return to a powerful EBITDA. We will not return to a powerful greatness because of the ATM. We will return there. We will return there because of 26,000 people in our hotels who work so hard every day and breathe life into our brands.
This is hospitality industry, for example, people, when I am using that phrase again and again, because you were working with Hyatt, which is a different culture altogether, it's an American brand and whatever. And the Taj Hotel, which grew up with the Indian hospitality culture, because Taj was known for Indian hospitality culture. Taj and Oberoi, these were the brands which were known all over the world. Foreigners who would come here would prefer Taj or Oberoi. Now the preferences to them are, they have got better options. How do you think the culture of Taj and culture of Hyatt, because they are two different cultures altogether, one is homegrown, one is grown in the West. So how do you meet West and East meet? Because requirements of both the client is different. But that could be a challenge for you as well.
I don't think so. I believe we should never... Hyatt is a tremendous culture, but Hyatt is a 58-year-old company. Taj is a 111-year-old company with very deep heritage. And they both look at market through the same prism, because that's what the market is. We at Taj look at hospitality from a holistic standpoint, and so does Hyatt. They're great people. I didn't spend 35 years of my life with people that are not great. But there's more than enough room for many great people to survive and do well in India. India does not have enough rooms. America has 5 million rooms. India is still somewhere 150,000 space. So the more we get foreign brands, the more we get these great representation from around the world to come to India, that's a vote of confidence in Mother India. And that makes us look good. So I welcome them. I want more of them to come. And we will all coexist in harmony. I have no doubt about that. Cultures will be different. Delivery of service will be different. Focus may be different. But at the end of the day, all that matters is that we, as the custodians of hospitality in this great country, deliver service with care. That people leave India not feeling that they had good service, but they leave India feeling that they were taken care of sincerely. That's all that matters.
No, from your statement, I'm getting some different kind of a feeling that you're talking about people who leave India. It means you're catering only our Indian hospitality industry is worried more about what the foreigners think about our hotels, if I'm getting it right.
Not at all.
No, because
You're getting it wrong.
So that's if I'm getting right. That's
You
what
are
I'm
getting it wrong.
So obviously I think I should get it wrong because Indian industry, if you look at the hotel clientele, because 80% of your tourist occupants must be Indians, if I'm right. 20% must be foreigners. When you come to India, why I'm putting this question? Because you are dealing with two different cultures. You are catering to the foreign clientele. They have a different kind of taste and expectations from Indian hotels. And Indians who have a different kind of expectations. Uniformity of clientele is not in India as much as it is in the Western world. So that must be a good challenge for you.
Not really. You see, Prabhu, take a step back. Whether you're a German or a Swiss or a North Indian or a South Indian, and you choose a hotel brand or a hotel company, what you're looking for is a set of emotional experiences that become far more important than the comfort of a bed or a chandelier or marble. No hotel company has a monopoly on physical products. Everyone tries to make a better hotel the next time around. What we have to do is we have to look after our guests. Our guests put their faith in us. That faith can't be taken for granted. That doesn't matter whether you're a Sindhi or a Punjabi or a Swiss or a German. To me, it makes no difference. Of course, if you are a hotel that's got a very inordinate amount of Japanese tourists, you have to make sure that you have certain Japanese foods and Japanese items that they like, which is no different than some hotels in America today are gearing up for the onslaught of Indian travelers. They're introducing things like bed tea because they know bed tea is important for Indians. So hoteliers understand the changing trends and times and they adapt to it. In India, not only Taj, but even Hyatt, Marriott, Starwood are going to have a very large amount of Indian travelers. The population base is so high, if out of 125 crore people, even 10% travel. And even if 10% of those 10% stay in top-class hotels, we will have no space for foreigners. That's why we need more rooms.
Well, that's true, but what the question is raised about hospitality industry. For example, now Indian hospitality industry was started by Mr. Tata and when the hotels were started. And after Mr. Ratan Tata and then Kelkar and Camellia Punjabi, I have gone through those people and they were looking after the guest and the hotel. Every part of the hotel was looked after very minutely. Now that kind of a commitment to the interest of the hotel, because you are now getting into gingers and you are getting into Vivanta. So obviously it seems, has Taj lost confidence its own brand Taj? That you have to go for ginger, you have to go for Vivanta. Taj was one of the best known names in the country. Still it is one of the best known.
So that would be like saying that BMW has lost confidence in the 7 Series because they launched 1 Series.
It is still known as BMW.
No, let me finish.
No. It is...
Because the last time I checked, a commercial enterprise remains relevant by appealing to a cross-section of population. So I think what my predecessors have done is brilliant. They have tried to capture Indians and foreigners at every price point, but with a common denominator of Tajness. There's a certain promise, there's a certain DNA strain that has run through, is running through, and will run through even more strongly in the future, which will denote that you're at a Taj hotel, but the price point may be different. You may not get a smoked salmon and ginger, but you'll still get a great samosa. But the bottom line that every hotel group aspires to, Taj does not have the monopoly on this, okay, is to make sure they come across as being sincere to their guests. That's why it's called hospitality and not a hotel.
Correct, you're right. But as you said, BMW, whatever you're saying, 7 Series and 5 Series and 3 Series, but they still retain the name BMW. They don't call it themselves Ambassador or Fiat or Maruti. So that's the difference between what BMW is BMW, Taj is Taj, and not ginger, because I'm not interested in ginger, I'm interested in Taj. But there can be a kind of psychological barrier there, because people if I tell I stayed in Taj, I get a different kind of response from my friends. If I tell I stayed in ginger, I say, ginger is a new brand, it's a good brand, a modern brand. But why not Taj?
Because you can't afford it.
So that's why.
Tell them you can't afford it, you're still ginger.
But that means I cannot, if I change the name from Indian Express to some Express, it means I've lost faith in my own brand. That is what is happening in India, because the Indians are expressing more and more faith in the foreign brands.
So you see,
Marriott is coming here, Hyatt is coming here, foreign name Ginger sounds like a more a brand, foreign name. Because Indianization of Indian brand, globalization of Indian brand, Taj was known. I stayed in America, in Washington, in New York also in the Taj, and there was in Washington also there. I have stayed in almost every city in India where the Taj is there. But point is I'm trying to make is the hospitality industry in India now is facing with the challenge of imposition of foreign brands.
your question is so long, I forgot what your original question was.
I didn't hear.
Your question is so long-winded, I have no idea what you said.
We are losing faith
I'll try to answer it. I'll try to answer it.
Yeah, please.
So, I think when the idea of creating a ginger came across, it was not because they're losing faith in Taj. It's because of that faith that they felt with Taj's halo over ginger, it'll do very well. So look at this positively. I know you're journalists, it's hard for you to do that. But try and look at this positively. So the thought was, if Tata Motors produces X car, Jaguar Land Rover, if people know that the Tata seal of quality is on Nano, it'll do well. That was the thought. This is what businessmen do. Businessmen have a strategy. They think they have empirical data to back it up, and they do something. When it doesn't work, they have to change. So let's go back to your favorite ginger. Ginger was done because Taj felt that with our halo, people will feel it's a good brand to go to. That was the intent. Now, time will tell if it was the right intent or not. But that was not because we lost confidence in Taj. By the way, if you look at our pipeline today, we're building more Taj hotels than we are any other brand. Because we're going to cities, metro cities, where we need that product. So I don't think we have lost confidence. We're very confident, but we're trying to be very humble about it. We're trying to be modest because we want to do some course correction, no doubt, and then move forward.
Anyway, I'll move on from this question to another because I'm very committed to Indianization globalization of Indian brands, because our Prime Minister talks about making made in India. So because most of the people are now, coming back to the foreign trained managers, because they would always like to use the foreign brand names rather than improving their own thing. But as a hotel, now you're the giant in the hotel industry. You have come back here. What are the challenges you find in hospitality industries here facing at the moment? What are the 3 points which you can flag now? This is the challenge for the Indian hospitality industry.
Okay, so I think looking forward to where India needs to be on a global stage, economically, hotels is a small part of it. We need to make sure that we have the right infrastructure in the country. The biggest challenge to tourism and the development of the hotels and the industry surrounding the hotels is very poor infrastructure. The second challenge is literacy in the country. We put people on the Mars and we have nuclear bombs, but we have 63% literacy, and that needs to be fixed, and needs to be fixed very, very quickly. Number 3, the minister spoke to skill development. Even though he took an hour more than he should have, his point is very, very valid. The example he gave of the Tanzanian tour guide, that is called skill development. We don't do enough skill development. So there's a literacy, the read, write, and math, and then there's a skill development. Not everybody's going to become a CEO, but we need to have skill development. So 3 challenges you asked me for: infrastructure, literacy, and skill development.
These are challenges you're saying. You're not getting enough. That I can see, because the quality of it, hospitality industry over the last 35 years I have seen, the quality of hotel servicing has gone down.
I agree.
And so the other thing is, you spoke about technology earlier. The technology which is being used now, because high cost of Indian hotel industry, this is one of the reasons that when you fix the room tariffs in dollar rates, I don't know what was the provocation for fixing dollar rates, because 80% of your clientele was Indian. Even then, because when you're fixing dollar rates, you are making it highly uncompetitive for a person who is Indian. That's one difference. That's the second question. But the actual question I want to raise, technology is being used to make it user-friendly or unfriendly. Because a person like I have been trying hoteling stay, because yesterday, this is one of the good hotels, telephone is on the left side and master switch on the right side. So I have to move from the one corner of the bed to switch off the light on the left corner of the side.
Must be very tiring, no?
And in other, so other thing is that you go to some hotels where they've got the iPad lights. You in the night when you are sleeping and woke up, you push the iPad, it falls off the table. So these are, when you are working at the technology using, it should make user friendly. And you are adding cost to the room because your ARR, net ARR, is coming down as I've heard from the industry, because of your high cost. Is high cost leading you to high clientele, much better bottom lines, or you are spending money because you want to be known as whatever Prime Minister will call smart hotel, smart client?
So I'm not sure we still quote in US dollars. I think it's against the law actually now.
It's US dollars. Most of the hotels have US dollars.
Not anymore. It's against the law.
Most of the five-star hotels which you go in.
No, it's against the law.
Maybe I have to.
I'm a foreigner, what do I know? You should check.
So
But
you go back to Indian rupees now.
It's been like that for a few years. Anyways, your point about the iPad, 100% right. I think hoteliers need to start thinking and getting guests to come and try mock-up rooms. Because if you think you have a problem with the iPad and the master switch, the ladies that stay in our hotels, they can't even put their makeup on because the mirrors and the lights are designed by men. The hair dryers are so small that if you dry your hair, not yours, but a lady,
Yeah, nothing.
it'll take 2 hours and you get arthritis holding the hair dryer. So you're 100% right. We need to fix this.
No, correct. But the question was again, because if I get into some kind of, because you put a big mirror or you put a technology there, you think you are becoming much more attractive for that client. Maybe I'm one of the in minority who doesn't like all these things. But I'm looking at my impression about, I told you I spent 1,500 nights in a hotel. Now the impression is that most of the hotels, including yours, you look at the pocket of a customer or a docket, means CV, that what is the brand name of the person, where is he coming from, or he is looking at the pocket, whether he can afford it or not, because your facilities and treatment of a customer is becoming very discriminatory now in most of the hotels. I'm not giving examples of any hotel, because now your managers are not, as he pointed out, skill development. Managers are not that as conscious of the service quality as they were earlier. Does it worry you or not?
It does. I think, at the end of the day, technology and hardware aside, you call it service. I don't like to use that word. I call it care. There has been a reduction in the level of sincerity in the care, and it goes back to the lack of skill development. It goes back to, I believe personally, not enough being done for the people that deliver the goods, and we need to correct that as an industry. We need to make this industry an industry where people want to come and work in. We have much work to do on that front.
Another thing which bothers most of us, because you are saying 50,000 rooms are there. In Delhi, for example, its gestation period is so high that a hotel takes almost 6 years to come up here. It is very expensive. And the kind of supply which has happened in Delhi, for example, you have the Hotel Aero City which is coming up. In Bombay, there are many hotels that are coming out. Do you think supply which has happened ultimately will make hotel industry non-economical, unprofitable, because demand is not going up as fast as the number of hotels rooms coming up?
No, I don't think so. I think we need a lot more hotel rooms. We need a lot more runways. We need more airports. We need to fix the roads, because the world's going to come to India. And even if the world does not come to India, there's 125 crore people in this country that have aspirations to travel and experience different things. So, of course, you're right. When supply comes up, it takes time for demand to catch up. And we're at that phase now. But if you look at the results this year compared to same period last year and the year before, we see some very encouraging trends. So I don't believe we have too many rooms. I believe we don't have enough rooms. We need more rooms. We need more airports. We need more scheduled airline charters. Look at Rajasthan. To get to Udaipur or Jodhpur or Jaipur, it's impossible. To get to Goa is impossible. So we have a long way to go.
You see, then
That's
coming to
that's the last question I got to
last question. I'm again coming back to the same. From this question, I'll take the last question, because obviously you're talking about the cities like Jaipur and whatever. Are you only interested in a business traveler, or like the Western hotels, for example, tourist attraction? Most of the tourists come to Western Europe, and India is not able to get tourist business as much as it should get it. So your hotel industry is not heading towards, because Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, they are only building up hotels which are meant for business travelers who can pay, but not for the travelers who want to be tourists.
That is quite inaccurate, Prabhu. There's a place called Kerala, right? Taj has got a rich presence. I can speak to it because I didn't do it. My predecessors did it. Goa, which has a very rich presence. I think the resort development is critical for this country, and there's a big emphasis on that. So I don't believe we're building hotels, just business hotels. We're building hotels where people will go. And that's where it's interesting to look at where we are today. But we must also see where we were 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I seek my strength from seeing the progress we have made. I don't let the lack of progress demoralize me. Because if somebody had said to me 10 years ago, we will have airports like Bombay or Bangalore or Delhi in this country, I would have said, you're smoking something bad. Stop doing that. I thank you very much for your time, ladies and gentlemen.
One small question. I want to ask, Cyrus brought you here. You came here because of the push factor or a pull factor?
I don't know what push or pull means, but I'll tell you why I came
Pull
here.
means money.
So now we know why when we read articles in Indian Express, we can't understand them. So I will tell you why I came here. I spent 35 years of my life with Hyatt. I went to a community college in Canada. I did not go to Harvard. I don't have fancy degrees. I went to a school called Hyatt. For 35 years, they treated me with dignity. They taught me everything I know. They took me from Jamaica to Dubai, to Fiji, to Hong Kong, to Macau, to Yugoslavia, to Chicago, New York, Switzerland, back to Chicago. So I did not leave Hyatt. I came to Taj. And it wasn't for the money. Both my compensation packages are available in the public domain. I did not leave Hyatt, a great culture, to come to a company. I came here because I wanted to join a culture which has got tremendous heritage. And I came here because of my ego. Because I felt I wanted to be MD of a public company. I felt I could make a small contribution. And I wanted to make my mother proud, who left me 2 years too early. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chawla, and thank you,
I
Mr.
think we couldn't
Sarna.
do much justice to all of you, but he gave it, of course, gave me back in his own way. Thank you very
I
much.
request you to remain on stage one moment, and I request Mr. Saurabhya Mohapatra, Executive Director, Mayfair Hotels, to please present Mr. Sarna with a memento thanking him for his time and insights this morning. Mr. Saurabhya Mohapatra. Mr. Sarna, thank you so much for an enjoyable and insightful session. Thank you, Mr. Mohapatra, and I request Mr. Debu Patnaik, Chairman, Technical Committee, to please present Mr. Chawla with a memento. Thank you, Mr. Chawla, also for that very enjoyable and eye-opening session. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for a quick break. 5 minutes for teas, coffees and refreshments. There are stalls set up in the basement, which is the exhibition area. There's a selfie booth just outside for those who would like to take a picture. And there's Pibli Bazaar for spouses at Mini Vatika. I also take this opportunity to thank our sponsors who made this convention a beautiful reality. I'll see you back in this ballroom in exactly 5 minutes. Thank you.